Do less, get more. I know that sounds backwards, especially if the woman who has been doing everything, initiating, tracking, fixing, holding it all together, and getting less and less in return. But here's what I've seen with working with hundreds of women in this exact situation. The more you do, the less space there is for him to show up. And the less space there is for him to show up, the more alone you feel. So you do more and this loop tightens. Here's the thing nobody tells you about overfunctioning. You can't stop it with willpower, not because you're weak, but because it's not a habit. It's a nervous system response. And your nervous system has been running this pattern for a really long time, probably way before this relationship. So in this video, I'm gonna go and show you what overfunctioning actually is underneath, why trying to just stop doesn't work, and what actually shifts it so he can show up and finally step in and you can finally exhale. And if you make it to the nervous system part near the end, that's where everything clicks. Most women tell me that's the moment that it finally stopped feeling like it's their fault. What overfunctioning actually is. So let's start with what it actually looks like, because most women who are doing it, they don't even realize they're doing it. You're the one who notices the tension before he does. You're the one who brings it up, who tracks whether you've connected this week or not, who manages the emotional temperature of the entire home. You initiate the hard conversations. You suggest the date night. You carry the mental load of the relationship the same way you carry everything else in your life. And on the surface, this looks like love because it feels like it. It started as love anyways, but somewhere along the way, it became the entire dynamic. And now you're exhausted, resentful, and completely alone in a relationship where you're doing everything. I call this being a high-functioning ghost. Professionally successful, physically present, but internally haunted by how disconnected everything actually feels. The world sees a woman who has it all together, but inside, you're drowning. And the most painful part, the more you try to fix it, the worse it gets. Why you just can't stop. This is the part most advice completely skips. They say, give him space, pull back, so you stop doing so much, be unbothered. And you've probably tried that for a day, maybe two, and then something felt off, the distance, the silence, and your nervous system kicked in and said, do something, fix it now. And then you are right back to where you started. Here's why. Overfunctioning isn't a choice you keep making or not making. It's a pattern your nervous system learned probably a long time ago. And for a lot of women, it started before this relationship, before this man. Maybe you grew up in an environment where things did fall apart, when nobody held them together. Maybe you learned early that being capable was the only way to feel safe. Maybe you were the one who had to figure things out alone, and that became your identity. I know this personally. I ran away when I was 16. I was a single mom at 21 for the first few years of my son's life. For years, my nervous system was running on pure survival mode, holding everything together because that was genuinely, there's no one else there to do it. That pattern didn't disappear when my life got safer. It followed me into my own relationship, into my home, into the way I showed up with a good man who actually wanted to help. So when someone tells you to just stop overfunctioning, they're asking your nervous system to unlearn something it built to keep you safe. You can't just do that with a decision. You can't willpower your way out of a survival response. I'll tell you what shifts this in a sec, but if you're recognizing that this pattern is inside of yourself right now, go and grab the ultimate guide to healing emotional intimacy linked below in the description. What actually shifts this? So what does actually work? Let me start with what doesn't. Pulling back strategically as a tactic to make him chase you doesn't work. Your nervous system knows the difference between a game and genuine safety, and he can feel that too. Doing less while silently resenting him than when he doesn't actually step up doesn't work either. That's just suppressed overfunctioning, and it just keeps coming back. What actually works is understanding why you're doing it in the first place. Not to blame yourself, but to get curious. When you feel the urge to step in, to fix, to initiate, to manage. What's underneath it? Is it fear if you don't, and then things will fall apart? Is it the familiar feeling of being the only one who cares? Is it that waiting feeling genuinely that's unbearable to your nervous system? Because until you can sit with that question, stopping will always feel like holding your breath. Here's an analogy that really landed and helped me. Phil Jackson, he's won 11 NBA championships with Michael Jordan, Kobe Bryant, not by just controlling his players, but actually by trusting them enough to step back. While other coaches were calling timeouts the moment their team actually fell apart, Jackson, he held back. He let them find their way through it. He believed, and in his own championship record proved it, that you can't build leaders by managing every single opportunity. You have to let them step up to manage themselves. And they became champions because he understood something most high performers miss. You cannot create leaders by removing every opportunity for anyone to actually lead themselves. Your relationship, it works the same way. Every time you step in before he has a chance to, you remove all the opportunity for him to show up. Not because he doesn't want to, but because you've already handled it. And over time, he stops trying, not from laziness, from learned helplessness. The space you create when you step back, that's not emptiness. That's the invitation for him to step forward. Here's what this actually looks like in practice. It's not about doing nothing. It's about doing differently. Bill Campbell, known as the $1 trillion coach to Steve Jobs and inside a Silicon Valley elite, never gave direct answers. He actually always asked questions instead. What's your plan for this? What do you think we should do? Not because he didn't have answers, but because he knew that giving someone all the answers removed their ownership of the solution. You can do the same thing. Instead of solving, ask. Instead of initiating every hard conversation, create the space and see what he brings. Instead of tracking the connection obsessively, let yourself know for a day. Notice what happens. This isn't manipulation, it's trust. And here's the thing about trust. The moment I stopped making my happiness dependent on whether my partner was doing the things the way that I thought he should, the atmosphere in my home shifted. Not because he changed overnight, but because I stopped meeting him with pressure. And when the pressure lifted, there was finally space for him to step into it. Control and intimacy cannot occupy the same space. The moment you loosen your grip, even slightly, something starts to move. Now, here's the last thing I want to say. And it's the part I promised you at the beginning. Even when, you understand all of this, your body may not let you stop. You might hear everything in this video and think, yes, that's exactly what I need to do, and then feel completely unable to do it. That's not weakness. That's your nervous system. And there's actually research that explains why. Dr. Stephen Porges developed what's called polyvagal theory, and what it tells us is this: your nervous system is always scanning for safety. And if it learned early in your life that doing more, controlling more, holding more together was how you stayed safe, it will keep running that program automatically, below the level of thought. You're not being irrational, you're being regulated, just to an old thread that isn't here anymore. The shift happens in small moments. Notice the urge to step in and pause for 10 seconds instead. Ask instead of tell once. Let someone be imperfect without fixing it. Just once. These aren't tactics. They're moments of evidence for your nervous system that it's safe to do less, that things won't fall apart, that he will step up if you leave the room. And each time you do, that grip loosens a little more. Do less, get more. No more control, more connection. And if you're ready to go deeper in this, I'm building a program specifically for women like you, a structured way to shift this from the inside out. The waitlist is in the description below. Now, go watch this video right here, because once you understand how to stop overfunctioning, this next video shows you exactly what it's been doing to your connection. I'll see you over here.